Hey guys, Breach here, and it's been a bit since the last one of these, and you're going to see on screen in a second why. Final Fantasy III, which we started and was tedious as hell. Just as much as I remembered it being. I will say, I can't recommend the 3D version of this now. I'm going to give it one playthrough in the future at some point, not doing the Iron Giant and its side quest, but the game itself moves at about Pokemon Gen 4 speed for everything. Movement, battle, itchy tags on brand new Dragon Quest XI shirts. It's a very slow engine, even on Steam and PSP. Like, you can tell it's a 3DS or a DS port. And it's not well optimized for anything else. It's slow to a fault. So I had to bump it up. I was playing it emulated, and I had to bump it up to 3 times speed just to make it bearable for how slow things moved. I will say, the Iron Giant, I'm glad that I finally took him down. I was thinking about doing video, but that fight was so tedious that I didn't even want to record it. Had to run it in 3 times speed just to have it be a manageable time frame. Had to grind all the characters up to level 90 and master about 7 job classes along the way, trying out different strategies. Grinded out rare drops of onion gear for a character to be an onion knight. And still barely got by the skin of my teeth. That fight is literally just something to grind for to keep people playing the game. And I think they did it to encourage they definitely did it to encourage the Mognet stuff. Which would have been cool in like a center like Japan where there's all kinds of people close together, all with 3DSs, often all playing the same game. Or DS isn't all playing the same game, but here in America, I can see why that didn't work out. And you can't even really do it outside of like proxy stuff, setting up your computer as a proxy hotspot or local play now, because they took down Nintendo Wi-Fi. So getting the Onion Knight class, getting all the letters for the Iron Giant, the Ultima weapon, it's gone. Can't do it on DS. Fortunately, on iOS, Steam, and PSP, you can still do that. They incorporated all of that stuff into the game and set up very arbitrary triggers. Justin, I'll get to you in a fucking minute, buddy. They set up very arbitrary triggers for how you get the letters. One of them, you had to have 80% bestiary and 80% chests open for the game. Several of them you can't get to until you've used the key to open the final areas of the game, like Eureka and the Crystal Tower. You have to use the keys there to trigger some letters opening. And typically whenever you use keys in that area, you're very close to a point of no return. So you have to know that you have to come back through all the bullshit that you took to get to those doors to go check the letters. Yeah. Full clear of Eureka. Full clear of an optional dungeon. Talking to Moogles with random characters leading the party to trigger some letters. Like, it is far more obtuse than I thought it was going to be going in. That said, I'm glad I did it. I have nothing left to prove in that game. Outside of maybe someday figuring out if Onion Knight only on the NES is truly possible. I've always gotten hung up on that first mini. I can get around the toading, but that first mini always gets me. So maybe there's a way around it. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll have to dive into some of the item values in the memory to see if you can replace to get spells and stuff. Regardless, FF3 is done. So weight off the shoulders. It ended up being like a 40-hour save file. Yeah, that's why it's been a while since we've done one of these update vlogs. Moving on to the PC version of FF4. I've gotten past the opening cutscenes. I know it's going to be a 2 playthrough game, and the first one's going to really suck because it's a hard mode playthrough. Not looking forward to some of the bullshit, but you have to play hard mode and steal from Zeramus in the final fight to unlock the super boss in a New Game Plus playthrough, which I can do New Game Plus on normal difficulty, but at that point I've already gone through the trials. So that should be fun. I am going to do a revisit to Final Fantasy II. I was thinking in the middle of FF3 while I was grinding for the Iron Giant, because I had plenty of fucking time to do that. Could have beaten that game 30 levels before I did, and it got to a point where even in Bahamut's Cave, the most efficient grinding spot in the game, it was nearly 100 battles per level up. Like I said, the game's tedious, and it's solely for grinding and to keep people playing the game. But I was thinking, you know what? FF2 deserved a better spotlight than that. Than I gave it. Because I missed the Blood Sword, got myself the Emperor, called it a victory flag. Even though my goal was the Soul of Rebirth, which I've never done. So, I'm going to go back and do FF2. Here, in the middle of some of these games. Probably before we transition to the truly 3D Final Fantasy games. Looking forward to 5 and 6. 4 here, I really wanted to get on to 4 while I was in the middle of 3. And I debated between doing the PSP version or the PC version. And, you know, there is a chance that I'll end up doing both through the course of this little conquest thing. Because they each feature different super bosses. Like the PSP version has Zeramus EX, or EZ, or E-Zeramus, I can't remember his exact name. And a bunch of other super bosses in each of the characters' dungeons. And the PC version has Proto-Babel, which is the more involved of the two, really, because 2 playthroughs. I may end up doing 3 playthroughs of 4. 4 is, you know, a fun enough game that I don't think I'll mind that. Even though it's going to be a fuck ton of grinding involved both times. We'll see. We'll see come close to the end of the first playthrough of FF4 on PC. And yeah, that's where the Final Fantasy playthrough's sitting. Dragon Quest, I'm still trying to work myself up to those. I know I said there'd be a video out a couple weeks ago for it. I'm not going to make excuses. It's hard for me to dive back into that one for a multitude of reasons that may or may not make sense. But that series will happen, and it will get finished. I promise you that. Skyward Sword streams should be coming back. Should have happened yesterday, but I got myself so absorbed in the Iron Giant grind and the eventual kill that I just lost track of time, and by the time I knew it was fucking midnight. So yeah, that's why there was no Skyward Sword stream last weekend, because I lost track of time. My head's been a little bit of everywhere lately, with all kinds of life happening. But that's not why you're tuning in. You're tuning in to talk Final Fantasy. When it comes to FF3, I say play the fan translation of the NES version. Shy away from the 3D version unless they somehow make a port that doesn't run at half the speed of Smell. Because even for a grindy RPG, that game's speed slows it down even more. Like, I get some RPGs are slow and grindy, but when your game speed is slow too, that just makes you feel like you're trudging through molasses the entire time. So, play the fan translation of the NES version. I will give the 3D version another shot without the side objectives on top of it to see if my opinion changes, because a lot of my playthrough, half of it was played at normal speed until I finally just said, okay, screw it, I'm bumping this up to 3 times speed for the whole thing because I can't take this anymore. And most of it was geared towards having specific classes that I thought would work towards the Iron Giant, trying to get those letters to fucking proc, and then eventually the classes that would work against the Iron Giant. So all of that combined led for a really sour experience. And I'm excited to be on to Final Fantasy IV now because of it. Even if it is the PC version that people give a lot of shit to, I've given shit to because of the dialogue and the voice acting. We'll see. You know? The sliders for the volume, I'm probably going to be playing this one without music and without voices and without sound effects because they're all just obnoxiously loud when I'm trying to have other stuff listening and going on. One of the things I really like to do when I grind for these is just listen to an audiobook while I'm grinding. Just doing mindless grinding and listening to books. So that's one of the ways that I kind of relax, is doing that. But I've gone on long enough. You guys get the idea. We're on to Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy III, still tedious. That's the one word to describe that game. In every version of it is tedious. So, if you guys are playing along, let me know where you guys are at. I know 3 took me much longer than it should have. But I'm kind of glad that I did it. Just because I never have to worry about that again. I can say I've beaten every version of that game and beaten the living shit out of it. I really liked it on the NES. Not so much the 3D version, but still one of my favorite games. Not favorite, but favored. Anyway, hope you guys have a good one. I'm going to toss up a couple screenshots now. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one.